Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is known as the birthplace of America. But just across the river from the place where the Founding Fathers signed the U.S. Constitution sits Camden, New Jersey, a city that illustrates the struggles of a modern America. It was a manufacturing hub for Campbell's Soup, RCA Records, and home to some of the country's largest shipbuilders. But like in many places in the so-called Rust Belt, much of the industry is gone, leaving the town a skeleton of its former self. It's become one of the poorest and most violent places in America, and because of the national debt crisis, things just got worse.
Due to the economic crisis that's facing the nation, the mayor has cut half the police department and a third of the fire department. People in the city should be concerned.
For years, Camden has relied on state and federal funding to meet their budgets. But now, with deficit problems intensifying at all levels of government, aid dollars are drying up. Last year, the state government slashed aid to Camden by about $8 million. Now, the city faces an unprecedented $26 million deficit. In addition to the layoffs, many basic police services have been cut.
If you get into a car accident, if there's no injuries, you're not going to get a cop. If somebody breaks into your house and you call the police, you're not going to get a police officer. You have to go to the police administration building to file a report. So we've gone from a full-service police department to a self-service police department. In the United States of America, that doesn't sit right.
In downtown Camden, workers are boarding up a building that once housed businesses and municipal offices. Outside, the police stand guard. Inside, one officer who asked not to be identified because he was not authorized to talk to the press displays the decay. He's one of the lucky ones who's been able to keep his job so far. He patrols the building with a heat monitoring device, looking for homeless people who've set up camp here. The police guard against looters, who they say have already stripped most of the copper out of the building's electrical system.
To me, it's the first part to a new catastrophe. You can't revitalize a city if the residents, your investors, your employees don't feel safe.
The Elgin Diner has been a landmark in Camden for more than 50 years. It's a place where many in the community gather.
I've been working here off and on since 1981. People are up in arms because they think now the criminals will think it's a free-for-all. I mean, I've had people say, you know, oh, well, there's not going to be any police on the, around, so I can do whatever I want.
Well, this is probably the most significant downturn for city governments since the Great Depression. Camden represents a severe case of what most local governments around the country are facing. So most of them are facing declining revenues, they're facing cuts that they have to make in services, and they're having to look at making cuts in personnel. Camden's an extreme case of that, right, because of underlying economic conditions over time. But the choices the local officials in Camden are facing are not that different from those that are being faced around the country.
According to the research of the National League of Cities, there may be more stories like Camden in coming years. In 2011 and 2012, state and federal aid to municipalities are projected to decrease. Back in Camden, the concerns are more immediate.
People are getting jumped left and right. People are getting robbed because they know they can get away with it because there's not enough law.
Some have taken matters into their own hands by joining a citizen crime-fighting force called the Guardian Angels. They wear bright red uniforms and patrol the streets at night with the goal of promoting safety.
We're just here to be a deterrent, to just let people know we care.
Charles, help them out.
And you know, everybody asked me today, well, what can you do? What difference is it going to make Guardian Angels out here? What is that going to do? I said, if we change one person, then we'll change a community. And I think that's the problem. They just lost hope.
Lagan Siebert, Financial Times, Camden, New Jersey.